Hi everyone. Today I'm going to give you an introduction to some basic pivot tables. Pivot table is a way in Excel to take information on one tab and modify it in a way that will give you the answers you're looking for, and that happens on another tab. So if you see, I have in front of me an Excel spreadsheet on the left and our Squirrely database, HRIS, on the right. So I'm going to minimize the Squirrely database because what I've done is I've already imported information from the Squirrely database into Excel, and I'm ready to create some pivot tables. But before I do, I want to copy down some of the formulas that I've already crafted. And you'll see from an earlier video, here is the formula for age. And I'm going to copy that down by hovering over the little dot here in the lower right hand corner, grabbing hold of it, which is a left mouse button push, and then drag all the way down. And it copies that formula down. And I'll do the same also with my if statement on the annual wage. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and create a pivot table. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, down here, insert a new tab. And I'm just going to right mouse button, click on that tab, rename it. I'm just going to rename it Pivot. And what I will now do is I will place my cell marker into A1. So I will open up cell A1, and I'll come up here to the Excel bar, Insert, Pivot Table. And it's going to ask me, do I want to insert it into the existing worksheet, which I do. But it's going to ask me, okay, you want to create a pivot table based on what data? So I have to tell Excel the data that I want to base it on. Of course, the data is all the way over here in this tab. So with my cursor there, I'm going to click on the tab, go all the way over. I'm going to highlight, drag all the way over the top row, which is my header row, drag all the way down. And you can see it brought all that data into the Create Pivot Table dialog box. I'm going to say OK. And it's taking me right back to the Pivot tab. Now you're going to see right here is where the table of information is going to appear, but here's where I'm going to manipulate all that information. And you're going to see all of the fields from the first tab that I copied over through the pivot table dialog boxes there. And then I have boxes down here. Now, when I create a pivot table, trust me, it's not perfect the first time. And I usually have to play with it until I get a hold of it. So let's say, and I'm looking at all of this, let's take a look at position titles and wages for position titles. So I'm going to take position and move it down in the rows. And I'm going to look. Okay, I like what I see. I'm going to put race underneath. So now I'm seeing the various ethnic backgrounds of those incumbents per position title. I can flip-flop it. Let's try to do that. So I'm going to go back down here and put race above position. And now you can see I can take a look at all the positions by ethnic background. Okay, again, I'm playing. Annual wage, column, I don't like that. That's showing all the annual wages. If I take the annual wage and move it under position, now I like that. But I don't have a count, and I don't know if it's an average wage. That's where I think the values are probably going to be helpful. So I'm going to take the annual wage and put it here. Okay. So now I got duplication. I'm showing here and here, so I'm going to remove this. Move that up there. Summary of annual wage. Now on this drop-down arrow for summary of annual wage, I'm going to click on it, and let me do value field settings. Sum, count, average. Do average. So now I'm getting the average. I'm getting the average for each ethnic background group and the average for the position. Still don't have the count. I want to know how many. So I've got race, so I'm going to, but I want to do it by position, right? So I'm going to move position down here. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try. Position. Perfect. And I'm seeing the counts. So, just by experimenting, by moving the fields in and out of the blocks down here, I'm creating some very powerful information. So if my boss said, you know, I'd like to know what positions each of the ethnic groups are in. Give me the count, and then what is the average annual wage? I have it. And if I wanted to even move gender within position, underneath, or within position, I would do that by placing it underneath. You can see that. If I just take position and move it between race and position, again, you can see that. So for the Squirrely Company, for Black African American, we have 12 employees. 7 are female. You can see that here. And 5 are male. And you can see the annual wage. And of the 7, 5 are software engineers in the games division. We have 1 who's a social media director, and actually have 1 female, Black African American, who's president. And by the way, this ethnic background labels, these labels are per the EEOC reporting. So again, just by sort of experimenting down here, I can create some very, very powerful information. Now let's go back to the data and scroll. And let's see what else we can do. We can also take a look at marital status. We can see how many of our folks are married and how many are not married in a quick way. So let's go back to the pivot table. And I'm just going to remove all of these. And I'm going to bring down the marital status. And count. So 24 are married, true. Marital status is true, that means they're married. 24 married. 26 are not. Can break it down by gender. Put the gender underneath marital status. There we go. So of those who are not married, of the 26 who are not married, 14 are female, 12 are male. Can I do it by position? Sure can. So of the 26 who are not married, 3 are accountants. We have 1 accounting clerk who's not married. 3 are administrative assistants. So pivot tables, very powerful tool in Excel. And it's a matter of, number 1, getting all the information first into one tab, one worksheet. All the information that you need. If you have to do any manipulation, like I did here with age and annual wage, you do it on that tab. Then you create a new tab, you insert a pivot table, and then trial and error, like I did, will help you. So hopefully you found this video helpful when it comes to using pivot tables. That's going to be critical to completing the classroom simulations for this semester. If you have any questions, of course, you can always email me. Thank you. Have a great day.